I want to tell you about a big community initiative taking place right now, and it's the 2010 census. Now, I know when we talk about the census, you probably think it's just really about a bunch of national statistics, but the reality is an accurate count of every living person in Fort Collins has a big impact on our community. To tell us more about that, I have Claire Thomas from our Economic Health Office. Claire, thank you for being on Studio 14 once again.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You're becoming a regular. Well, let's talk about what the census means to our community. I mean, we're here at the Transit Center, and that's actually kind of fitting because some of the funds that we get for transit are a result of our census numbers and come from the federal government.
Exactly. $3.5 million a year come from the federal government to help fund transport, which gets people to and from work, school, errands, doctor's appointments, what have you.
Name it.
Everything. And if we didn't have that funding, then transport may not be what it is. So it's wonderful.
It is true. And it's not just about transportation, though. Actually, census data and federal funds support a lot of our programs here at the city.
Exactly. Our Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, they bring in about $1 million a year based on census data from 2000, and that money goes directly towards people that have trouble financing homes, clothing, daycare, job training. You have it. Whatever their needs are, the Community Development Block Grants help fund those needs.
So let's talk about the census itself. It's not horridly laborious, I hope, but about 10 questions?
Yeah, that's the campaign. The national campaign is using the tagline, take 10 and fill out 10. And so it's take 10 minutes and fill out 10 questions. They're very basic questions. They're not hard. You don't need to pull out your files and look up information. It's who's living in your house as of April 1st. That's it. And the information is held in privacy under confidentiality law, federal law, for 72 years.
I love that. It's 72 years. It feels like a random number to me, but it also makes me feel safe because the confidentiality of this information is really important. And in fact, census workers and data collectors have to go through a pretty, intricate maybe.
Yeah, they take an oath, actually. And if they're ever found guilty of passing along anybody's personal information, they're fined $2,500 and face jail time.
Wow.
So
it's intense.
It's high risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not a good thing.
So you can feel safe that when you fill out your census form, that data is protected.
Yes, and you know what? Some people think, well, if I'm filling out a federal form, all federal agencies are privy to that information. But it's not true with the census. It's different. So the FBI cannot get your information. Immigration cannot get your paperwork. The IRS cannot see where you are, all that. It's purely for the census, for statistics, so we can distribute funds across community programs. And we talked about earlier off camera about the congressional seats for different communities. So actually in 2000, when they did the count of Colorado, they identified Colorado needing an additional congressional seat, and that's when District 7 was established.
Right, so it sort of assures our representation
Yes.
in Washington.
Exactly. So local level, yes, money comes in, we pay for local programs, but on a federal level, it helps us with our representation on bigger laws and stuff.
So we can expect to get our questionnaires pretty much any day now.
Yeah, right. So middle of March to the middle of April, end of April, you'll be getting a form in the mail. It's 10 questions. There's a prepaid, pre-addressed envelope. Fill it out quickly, put it back in the mail. If you don't want to have a census taker come to your house, which will happen after the end of April.
So essentially, if you don't fill out your form, they're going to send someone out to your house to help you fill it out.
Yeah, they'll take down the information on their own form and take it with them. You won't have to go find your form. They'll have one right there ready to take down the information. And they'll come back 3 different times and leave a little door hanger saying, hey, we tried to count you. This is really important. Please call us to make an appointment or we'll come back again soon.
That brings up a good point, Claire, because unfortunately there are people who try and take advantage of this process. And we've heard stories about fraud. So can you tell us a little bit more about some of the questions that we can expect to be asked on the census versus maybe some information that we should just not give out no matter what?
Right. Well, the census takers that come to your door will have a badge. It'll say their name. It'll say U.S. Census Bureau. They might have a bag on their across their shoulder as well, just to hold supplies. And they're not allowed to come into your house. And they'll ask questions like how many people are living in this house as of April 1st. They're going to ask you who lives in the house, what are their ages, when were they born, do you own this house, what's the first person's gender, is it male, is it female, what's their age, simple things. They will not ask you for social security numbers, they will not ask you for bank account numbers, nothing that personal. So people should really feel safe, and it's sponsored by the U.S. Department of Commerce, so that's something else to be aware of. It's not going to have any other agencies' information on it.
Claire, thank you so much for being here and telling us more about the census.
Sure.
It's actually a really important initiative for the entire community.